Tom King.
The cookie told me so.
Desserts aren't always right.
But they're so sweet.
Christian Arcand.
What makes you the authority, brah?
Christian and King.
I know what the good is.
Welcome to the goodie room.
Weekdays noon to 3 on ESPN New Hampshire Radio. Streaming live on ESPNNewHampshireRadio.com.
So what?
So what? So let's dance.
Now, here's Christian Arcand and Tom King.
Third and final hour here, Christian and King. No King today, just Christian like this all week, as a matter of fact. Sorry to all you big Tom King fans out there, all four of you. We'll get through this together, folks, I promise. Don't worry. King is somewhere, and he's very happy. I'm sure he's sitting on some sort of inflatable pool toy with a glass of milk in one hand, probably. Bologna sandwich in the other. Loving life. And very happy that he's not in here looking at me right now. But that's how most people get anyways. 603-883-9900, your phone number, 883-9900. You can text in 50352. As promised, I did not talk about the Red Sox once that entire last hour. And I said I would, and I meant it, and I didn't. We talked Patriots. We talked Johnny Manziel. We talked about LeBron James. We talked about lots of other things. But now we're going to steer it right back to the depressing, lame, awful Red Sox. And joining us now, anything but depressing, awful, and lame, one of my favorite guests from Fangraphs, David Laurila, joins us here on Christian and King. David, hello. How are you?
Christian, how about that World Cup, huh?
Great World Cup, isn't it? I don't even care.
World Cup.
I don't even care that Team USA is out. And actually, and I'm glad you brought that up, Dave, because I haven't mentioned the World Cup yet today. I did watch some of that Argentina-Belgium game, and that was one hell of a game. That was really, really fun to watch. I know that it's probably going to die down a little bit after the World Cup's all over, but I do think that more so this year than in years past, I think there's going to be a little bit of a ripple effect of it from this year. And I know they say that every single year, but not every single year has there been thousands of people gathering in public town squares to watch these games. So I think that this might be it. I think we might be going somewhere with this.
Christian, let me tell you my thoughts about A, the World Cup, and B, the Red Sox.
Okay.
This past Saturday, day-night doubleheader for the Red Sox, a couple of important World Cup matches. Guess what I did?
I'd say one World Cup game, one Red Sox game. You double-dipped.
No, I was ensconced in a nice air-conditioned pub with a couple of friends, drinking Guinness and watching soccer all day. The heck with the Red Sox for that day. Not the heck with the Red Sox overall, but sometimes. Hey, the World Cup is every 4 years. The Red Sox are playing like it's, the Bobby Valentine Red Sox.
It does sort of seem like that, Dave, and that's a good place to start here. When they got swept by the Cubs, I tweeted that this officially the Red Sox went from a turning point. In 72 hours, the Red Sox went from a turning point with their series win over the Yankees to worse than 2012. And the reason I said worse than 2012 is because this year they actually have a competent manager, and this year they're actually trying with Major League talent instead of Mauro Gomez and Pedro Siriaco and the rest of the jokers they had out there in 2012. I mean, this is the team. There's not that much different from last year when they won the World Series. They actually have a real manager, not Bobby Valentine. And this is just embarrassing. I mean, they're at the bottom of the American League East. They're third worst team in all of the AL. It's probably time to give up on this season giving you anything in terms of playoff potential. But I guess the question now is, Dave, what sort of trade value do some of these players have?
Unfortunately, not very much. But, John Lester, I've come on the show a few times recently and said I don't think they're going to trade John Lester. I'm starting to wonder about that now.
Yeah.
Yesterday, Buck Showalter, after he did his pregame press conference with Baltimore media and myself and two other Boston media, he just sat and chatted for a few minutes, and the conversation went here or there, and then he looked right at me, being in this market, and said, "You think the Red Sox are going to sign John Lester?"
He asked
and
you.
I thought about it for a second, and I actually said no, which surprised Buck, because Buck looks at this as the whole thing came up with the re-signing of free agents was the conversation. And he, of course, says teams like the Red Sox can't afford to sign free agents, and the Orioles can't, which he's right. But I don't think the Red Sox are going to overpay. And now that we saw this huge Samardzija deal, I'm really starting to wonder if the Red Sox got an offer, and I'm just sort of pulling teams randomly here, say the Dodgers are obviously going to the playoffs. What if they offered their top prospect, this great outfield stud named Jock Peterson, and maybe another minor leaguer who has got reasonable potential? Would the Red Sox say no if they don't think they can sign him for a fair price? I would think the Red Sox almost have to say yes.
Yeah.
Because Peterson, I mean, he's a stud. The only reason he's not in Los Angeles right now is they have that glut of outfielders, including a few guys like Crawford that they have to play because he's paid so much. But it's not going to shock me. The more I think about it, the more the way the season is going, if we don't see that type of splashy move.
I sort of agree with you, Dave. I think that at this point, Lester, as great as he is this year and as much of an ace as he's looked like, I mean, last year wasn't one of his best seasons. It was a good season, no question about it. In 2012, obviously, we all remember, was a lousy one. This year, he's pitching a lot better. It's a contract year. He's getting to the wrong side of a long-term deal, age-wise. Yeah, I think trading him certainly makes some sense. Koji Uehara, another name. And outside of that, I mean, are any of these chips, is there anything? I mean, do you just blow up the team just to do it? I mean, Gordon Eads was writing today about how Johnny Gomes is a right-handed bat that someone like Seattle might like because of his clubhouse presence and things like this. I mean, are we going down to the nitty-gritty? Are we going to bare bones this team here? Is that a possibility, I guess?
Well, I don't think that's going to happen, Christian. Jumping back to the Lester for one quick moment, I see some analogies with Jacoby Ellsbury.
Okay.
Is people had always assumed Ellsbury was going to go, that he was a quiet sort, didn't really like the media attention in Boston. I'm not entirely sure, despite what he hinted about hometown discount to stay, I'm not sure that John Lester loves Boston. He reminds me a little of Ellsbury in that he doesn't really like media coming to him all the time. He's professional about it. He's certainly a pleasant fellow in a general sense, but he's not a Shane Victorino who lights up when the media comes and says, hey, I get to talk now.
Yeah.
And, maybe he is just trying to say the right thing. This is pure speculation on my part, saying the right thing to be endeared to the fans, and he'd like a change of scenery. But, as for the smaller parts that you touched on, Gomes, who incidentally I think I tweeted the other day, is now 13 for 87 with 36 strikeouts against right-handed pitchers this year.
Yep.
Sure. I mean, a team might want him as a spare part to use against left-handers, but what is a team going to give up for him? They're going to give up the equivalent of what the Red Sox thought they were getting in Brock Holt.
Yeah.
Which they thought they were getting maybe a spare part who will bounce back and forth between AAA and Boston. So if the Red Sox scouts like somebody of that ilk who isn't projected to be more than what Brock Holt was supposed to be, like, say, Pedro Siriaco, they jump on a move like that right away. The same with a Przinsky, who really has no use here.
Yeah, he really doesn't. We're talking with David Laurel here from Fangraphs on Christian and King. David, what does the 2015 rotation look like without John Lester in it? I mean, what are we really talking about here? If we're punting on this season, which I feel like a lot of people are, and the pitching rotation is a strength. I mean, it's not the top two anyway. It's kind of a top-heavy rotation, but the top two pitchers are very good. If Lester's gone and John Lackey, another big question mark with his contract status next year, how far in the hole does that put this Red Sox rotation for 2015?
Right, and we also have Jake Peavy in that conversation,
sure.
Christian, who I doubt is going to be here long. I mentioned yesterday before the game to a scout, ironically, who didn't really want to touch my comment, is that if Peavy pitches well yesterday, I think it's going to be his last start in a Red Sox uniform.
Well, he did pitch well. So.
And I honestly think that may be true. But the answer to next year, you've got some of the young kids are certainly going to be in the rotation. But if you're shedding people like Lester and Peavy, you also have more money free for the free agent market or to make a deal with a high-priced guy somebody can't afford. So the Red Sox, being the Red Sox, are not going to go into next season without one or two frontline starters, who are veterans, whether they come from outside or they keep the Lesters or the Lackeys.
And if that is the case, who are some names maybe that would come up? Max Scherzer, is that a possibility? I mean, we all know what sort of money he wants. He's a little younger than John Lester. I mean, who are some guys that you think they might target?
Well, I'm sure they would be interested in Scherzer, but I don't know, Christian, if we want to start getting into speculation yet about next year. Because there's so much can happen between now and then. I think maybe more of the interest is in who are some of the kids coming up and how ready are they going to be.
Yeah, I know what you mean, Dave, but I'm just so disenfranchised with the kids right now. I can't even, I mean, Xander Bogaerts, and he had 2 hits yesterday, and that's great, but I mean, you know what he's done this last month. You know what he's done since Stephen Drew came in and was the full-time shortstop. Jackie Bradley's been a little bit better lately, but I got to be honest with you, I'm not feeling too great about rushing any of these kids up to the major league level right now. It just doesn't seem like something about this team. It's just not working out.
Well, no, I mean, that's stating the obvious, Christian.
Right.
But, as for Bradley, my God, what a catch yesterday. That might be the best defensive play of the entire season.
That was amazing.
It was absolutely amazing. But, going back to conversations that people have, I was sitting in my local cafe this morning, peering over the newspaper, having a cup of coffee, and a friend of mine who's really more of a casual fan than you or I stopped by, and he said, trade everybody.
Everybody.
He said the only thing that's fun right now is to watch these kids. And I think that's damn accurate. Who would you rather watch struggle? Xander Bogaerts and Mookie Betts or Shane Victorino. It's not fun to watch the older players who don't have a long-term future play on a team that is not winning. People love to watch the kids play. And, these kids are going to get better. I don't think you're ruining Xander Bogaerts. I think right now what you're doing is letting him go through a rough patch. It's the old, you have to learn how to struggle in order to get better. And Bogaerts has never struggled, really, in his professional career.
Yeah.
He's finally doing it. Well, frankly, it's good for him. Learn what it's like to really scuffle at the plate. Work with the hitting coaches. Be patient. This guy's going to be a stud. You don't go from being one of the best prospects in baseball, to a piece of garbage over a couple months of not hitting well as a 21-year-old.
Craig Hansen did that.
To think that.
Craig Hansen did that. He was one of the top pitching prospects, and then he went to a pile of junk, I think, in about that amount of time.
Craig Hansen had some arm issues, for one thing.
Right.
Craig Hansen ended up retiring not because he couldn't throw the ball over the plate, a la Daniel Bard.
Right.
He had some arm issues. I forget exactly what it was, but it was some sort of nerve issue that really impacted his ability to throw a baseball. And I don't have to tell you, pitchers are so different animals than position players.
I understand. And I'm not saying, Dave, listen, I'm not saying you got to give up on Xander Bogaerts, obviously. They dropped him in the lineup. They can still send him down to Pawtucket if they feel like that's a prudent move, which at this point, considering just how much he's struggling, I don't think it could really hurt him that much just to get down and build up his confidence, hit some pitches, because he just hasn't been doing. I mean, he hasn't hit anything. I mean, I've seen young players go into slumps before, but this almost seems like something more than that. This almost seems like I don't even know what it seems like, but it's unprecedented to me to see a guy come up there and not get a hit for almost a month.
Well, he broke to 0 for 27 yesterday with a bloop single. He then hit the ball high off the wall, which is a great thing to see.
Yes.
He also hit the fly ball to center field about 390 feet yesterday. In another at bat. So I mean, I don't know if you want to like it to Stephen Drew in the postseason last year, who absolutely sucked. He hit nothing for weeks, and then he homered, late in the World Series after a couple of really good at bats the game before. I remember in the press box talking to somebody who was saying, "Hey, this might be the turning point. Look at these swings he has that he hasn't had for weeks."
Yeah.
I'm not going to be surprised if he goes deep. Baseball works that way sometimes. All it takes is one or two good swings, and suddenly you're seeing the ball better, and you get hot. So I'm not that worried about Bogaerts, despite the fact that I do worry his offensive woes are starting to affect his defense. That's my one concern.
I am with you there, too, but I'm also worried about the fact that David Ortiz isn't going to be here forever. He's going to be gone probably in a year or two. Mike Napoli's not going to be here forever. The future of this offense, is sort of predicated, and who knows who they get, in free agency between then or trades or whatever, but the future of this offense right now, 3 years from now, is Xander Bogaerts, and maybe whoever else happens to be here, maybe Mookie Betts, maybe Garen Cicchini, maybe Jackie Bradley Jr. if they're all still around. And Bogaerts is sort of the big bat there, and I don't know. I was hoping this year would go much, much differently for him, I guess. And I know that's obvious to say, but I mean the fact that it went so bad so quickly is just it's alarming.
I think you're disappointed, Christian, that I'm not Mr. Negativity here. Because if Tom was on there, he'd be very confused.
I'm trying to bait you. You're not taking it.
No, I guess what's happening, Christian, is that as woeful as this team is, I'm enthused by the fact that the kids are playing, and I think they're going to go youth movement for the second half of the season.
All right.
I'm really getting that feeling that I know it's the best way to go. I will be one of the most disappointed people in the Boston media from a fan perspective of caring about what this team does if they go and trade a bunch of the kids now for the short term thinking we can get back in it.
All right, well, let's play a little game there, Dave. We're talking with Dave Lorla here from Fangraphs. I'm going to go around the roster, and I'm going to give you a couple of names, and I want you to tell me if you think this player will be on the roster come September, okay?
Shoot.
All right, let's start in the bullpen with Burke Badenhop. Will he be on the roster in September?
Yes, and I hope he will be.
I hope he will be, too. I like him, but I do think he's a bit of a chip right now, for better or for worse. Edward Mujica, will he still be on the roster in September?
Yes, because his marketability, you either cut him or, nobody wants him the way he's throwing.
Okay. Koji Uehara, September, yes or no?
No.
He's getting traded.
I think so, yes.
Okay. And what sort of haul do you think is reasonable to expect for Koji?
Somebody that is going to help you down the road. That's stating the obvious. The fact that he's not on the All-Star team, for instance, is insane. I know he's supposedly going to get on with the first move, but he belongs on the All-Star team.
All right, let's go to the position players now. David, A.J. Pierzynski, will he be on the team in September?
No, I was on the record on April 1st saying he would not last the entire season on this roster, so that certainly has not changed.
Okay. Will Stephen Drew be on the roster in September?
Yes.
Yes, you will. Okay.
Yes.
Johnny Gomes, will he be there?
No.
No on Gomes. Daniel Nava, how about?
Yeah, that's going to be the hardest question you asked me in this whole thing, Christian, because I'm a big Daniel Nava fan, and I'm convinced the Red Sox, for some reason, are not the way they jerked him around in the postseason last year and sent him down this year because he was hitting too many line drives at people.
Yeah.
I think the Red Sox would be foolish to get rid of Daniel Nava, given what his value probably is, given how he's an outfielder who doesn't hit for power.
Yeah, that.
So I'm going to take a pass on that. I have no idea.
You're going to pass on that? All right, that's fair. All right, let's get to the starting rotation now. Jake Peavy, September, yes or no?
He isn't going to last through July.
He will not last through July. You think that was his last start? What we just saw yesterday?
I think there's some chance he may make one more. I have to think that there's already a lot of talk with teams about Peavy.
Okay. How about John Lackey?
I think he will certainly be here at the end of the season, yes.
Lackey will. And finally, John Lester. Will he be here or will he not?
That's another hard one. It all depends on the offers that they're going to get. If the Red Sox get the type of offer that the Cubs got for Samardzija, I think he is going to be gone.
All right, very fair, David.
I think there's my closing thought here, Christian. I think it's a red flag here. All this talk of Lester not wanting to talk until after the season.
How is that a red flag?
It's a red flag because it hints at the fact that he is going to do the Ellsbury thing and look more for the money than simply staying.
Well, wouldn't the 4-year, $70 million offer sort of wouldn't that like nudge him in that direction? I mean, if you're giving him an offer like that, which is well below what his market's going to be, of course he's going to want to go and see what other offers there are. I mean, I think that offer was one of and I know that Leicester's can't let it out, but that offer, I think, sort of lampooned this whole process before it even got started.
No, I think, Christian, what we have is a case of the Red Sox have an offer that they think is fair, and they may go higher. Mm-hmm. But if we wait until after the season and another team comes out and offers 15, more than that,
yeah,
Lester's gone. I don't think the Red Sox can afford to take that deal and get a simple draft pick.
All right, Dave, before we let you go, you mentioned the Sermajer trade a couple of times. That really surprised me over the weekend, mostly because it's usually the A's who are offering up one of their stud pitchers to get a guy like Addison Russell. Instead, it's the other way around. What were your thoughts on that trade altogether, and do you think anybody really made out better than the other in this instance? Who do you think really won that trade?
I think that the A's won the trade if they go to the World Series, mm-hmm. and the Cubs probably won the trade, assuming that the two players they got, the marquee prospects, turn out to be what they should.
Yeah. All right.
Simple as that. I think Billy Beane has decided enough of this being the young genius, who builds teams on no money, that he wants to have and won a World Series added to that.
Yeah.
He went for it. They were positioned to do that. You look at their record, the Red Sox are the exact opposite right now, which is why I think they should sell.
Yeah, I'm with you. David Laurel at Fangraphs, thanks so much for your time, sir. Great stuff from you as always, and we'll talk to you again soon, all right?
Great, Christian. Thanks.
All right, that's David Laurel there. Check him out on Fangraphs, and you can also follow him on Twitter. He's got a funny Twitter handle. It is, now I can't remember what it is. Hold on, I'm looking it up. It is David Laurel QA, and that's David Laurila, Lourila QA. Go follow him on Twitter, guys. Got all sorts of great insights. All right, 603-883-9900, your phone number. It's Christian and King. We're back after this.
Steak and cheese fans, listen up. Quiznos Subs on Main Street in Nashua just came out with the Vince Special, which is a large spicy steak bomb for only $8.49. You get actual black Angus steak with Genoa salami, mozzarella, sautéed onions and peppers, and chipotle mayo. So grab the Vince Special, large spicy steak bomb today at Quiznos on Main Street in Nashua.
Quiznos Subs. Toasty.
Play ball! Gee! What do you mean that was a strike? That was a ball!
That was a strike!
Ball!
Strike!
Ball!
Ball!
Ball?
That was a ball!
Well, you're the boss.
Not a good negotiator? At Peters Kia of Nashua, you don't have to be. Because at Peters Kia, you'll always get their best price the first time on all your favorite Kia models. See how much you'll save at Peters Kia of Nashua, home of the complimentary lifetime powertrain warranty.
The Nashua Silver Knights offer the best baseball experience in all of New Hampshire. The tickets are cheap, there's plenty of food and drink available, and the kids absolutely love it. Come down Thursdays for Dollar Draft Nights, every Thursday night throughout the season. There's always fireworks on Friday, plus there's a kid zone and entertainment between innings. It really is a great place to watch a ball game this summer. For scheduling and more information, log on to NashuaSilverKnights.com.
Jay Farner here from Quicken Loans. We get a lot of tweets from folks that sound just like this. Jay, I bought my home in 2007. Since then, it's gone down in value. Now I owe more on my mortgage than my home is worth. Can I refinance? The answer may very well be yes. Recently, the government announced changes that may allow folks to refinance even if their home has lost value. For example, if you owe $300,000 on your mortgage, but your home's only worth $150,000, Quicken Loans may still be able to help you. Or if your current mortgage rate is higher than 3.99%, you've got to give us a call today at 800-QUICKEN. And for 3 years in a row now, J.D. Power & Associates has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. So, if your current mortgage is higher than 3.99%, or if you owe more than your home is worth, call Quicken Loans today at 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com.
For J.D. Power and Associates Award information, visit jdpower.com. Important terms and conditions apply. Calls for cost information. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Hey, Lynn, how are you?
Great. It's been a while. You look good.
Thanks. Hey, can you tell? I knocked off a few pounds recently.
Yeah, I mean, you really look good.
Well, I can't take all the credit. I owe it to Dr. Waldman and his cool sculpting.
Who?
Dr. Waldman. He's right on Riverside Street in Nashua. I'm telling you, I never had a hard time with my appearance. I work out, I eat healthy, but I just couldn't get rid of these love handles until I had cool sculpting at Dr. Waldman's.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of Dr. Waldman and the new cool sculpting. The entire staff there's great. They'll sit down with you and consult on exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah, they made my cool sculpting experience comfortable and safe. No incisions, no downtime. Plus, I was back at the gym the same night.
And I must say, I like what I see.
Well, then I'll see you for dinner.
Absolutely.
Waldman Plastic Surgery and Dermatology on Riverside Street in Nashua. Make sure to mention this ESPN New Hampshire ad to get a free cool sculpting consultation with Dr. Waldman. Call 603-577-5559 or visit them online at Waldman Plastic Surgery and Dermatology.com. That's Waldman Plastic Surgery and Dermatology.com.
Hearing loss is a growing health issue among young adults and Americans of all ages, affecting more than 48 million people nationwide. Common signs of hearing loss include turning up the volume on the TV or radio to levels that others find too loud, having trouble following conversations in noisy environments, or struggling to hear while on the telephone. Help prevent hearing loss by limiting exposure to loud noises, using ear protection when attending sports events or music concerts, and reducing the use of earbud headphones. It's also important to discuss hearing loss with your family and take steps to encourage treatment. Hearing loss isn't harmless. It can cause social isolation and make it more difficult for families to connect. Hearing loss is also linked to lower earnings, depression, dementia, and higher risk of falls. If you or a loved one is experiencing hearing loss, now is the time to take action. Talk to your hearing healthcare provider or your physician and schedule a hearing test. For more information about hearing loss, please go to www.hearingloss.org. This has been a public service message from the Hearing Loss Association of America, High Health Innovations, and this station.
Whoa, a digital music player. Thanks, Mom.
Glad you like it. We can finally toss out that old massive stereo.
Mom, you can't just throw out electronics. They need to be recycled or donated.
Recycled? Like aluminum cans?
Yeah, you just go to greenergadgets.org, enter your zip code, and it tells you where the nearest certified recycling center is.
I knew that.
Okay, Mom.
Recycling electronics is as easy as buying them. Log on to greenergadgets.org to find electronics recycling options near you.
You want sports? How about the Red Sox, Bruins, and Celtics? Hear them all right here on ESPN New Hampshire. Scores, standings, trades, and rumors. This is the ESPN New Hampshire Sports Center.
This weekend is the NASCAR Sprint Series race up at Loudon. New England's own Eddie McDonald will be making his Sprint Series debut, and he says it's fitting. It's coming right here in New England.
Doesn't get any better than this. I would say this is my first pick if I ever got to choose anywhere to run my first Cup race. Definitely be here. So just so excited to be able to run in front of all the New England guys and everything and friends and family.
Make sure to tune in to Christian and King all week long for your chances to win tickets to this weekend's big race up at Loudon. The Eastern League has named their All-Stars. There's 3 New Hampshire Fisher Cats and 5 Portland Sea Dogs. The Fisher Cats, John Beardy, Dustin Antolin, and Randy Boone. For the Portland Sea Dogs, it's Henry Owens, Blake Swihart, Sean Coyle, Derek Gibson, and Brian Johnson. Henry Owens leads the Eastern League in strikeouts, whip, and average against. He's 12-3 with a 2.21 ERA. The Boston Red Sox welcome in the Chicago White Sox tonight for a 4-game set at Fenway Park. First pitch 7:10 with pregame at 6:25. I'm Rich Flair, and the Sports Center was brought to you by Waldman Plastic Surgery and Dermatology. Just mention ESPN New Hampshire for a free cool sculpting consultation and visit them at Waldman Plastic Surgery and Dermatology.com.
Local sports talk for the New Hampshire sports fan. This is ESPN New Hampshire, Christian and King.
(603-883-9900), your phone number 883-9900. Christian and King here. About 30 more minutes of show. Then I'm out of here. No Jim Sensabella today. Not sure when he'll be back, as a matter of fact, but he's not on today. And Tom King will not be on until a week from today, when he returns. Couple of texts. Christian, are you saying that this World Cup is a turning point for soccer in the U.S.? Sign the great Jim Akers. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Sorry, soccer fans everywhere, but you just got the kiss of death. Another texter says, Christian, speaking of soccer, was Michael Bradley playing all those minutes because of politics? Watching other teams play in FIFA really points out how weak the USA is at that position. Michael Bradley didn't have a good World Cup. No, I don't think so. Although in that Belgian game, I think he actually played a lot better. There was a couple of times when he ran guys down and stopped what would have been some pretty good rushes there all by himself. So, I mean, you got to give him credit where credit's due. It wasn't a great World Cup for him by any means, but I don't think that the U.S. is super weak at that position. I think there are certainly other countries that are just as weak, if not weaker. Although, I don't know. Bradley definitely could have played better. All right, 603-883-9900. That's your phone number, 883-9900. This just coming in. Breaking news here from the NBA. Wow. The Houston Rockets have offered Chris Bosh a contract. This can't be right. No way. 4 years, $96 million? Holy crap. That can't be right. Come on. They did not do that. Did they really offer him that, Chris Bosh? That's a max deal. 4 years, 96. To play with Dwight Howard and James Harden. Chris Bosh, if he doesn't take that deal, then he is an absolute idiot. 4 years, $24 million a year? What? What planet are you on, Houston? Listen, I think that Chris Bosh is a fine player. Absolutely. But when Bosh, and goodbye Miami, forget about Miami now. There's no way those guys are going back there now. Why would Chris Bosh opt out, go back to Miami when LeBron's going to Cleveland? What, to play with Dwayne Wade? Please, no way. If you hate the Miami Heat like I hate the Miami Heat, this is great news. This is really terrific. LeBron's going to Cleveland, Bosh is going to Houston, and now Miami's going to have to give Dwayne Wade some sort of courtesy offer to save face because their entire team just walked out the door. Oh, my God, that's just great. Sorry, Riley. Sorry, Patty Riles. Looks like your little speech wasn't enough. Because if Bosh goes to Houston, that's all LeBron's going to need. That's all that he is going to need to go back to Cleveland. Once he hears that Bosh is opting out and not coming back to Miami, here's what I think happened. I think LeBron basically said, okay, here's what I want to do, guys. Everyone will all opt out. I want max money. You guys come back, take a pay cut, and we'll try and get some more people in Miami. And Dwayne Wade said, sure, LeBron, whatever, man. I just, I'm nothing without you at this point, so I'll do whatever you want. And Chris Bosh said, I'm going to see what else we got here. I'll probably come back, but just in case I get blown away by an offer, in case there's a team out there that might be dumb enough to give me $24 million in the next 4 years, per year for the next 4 years, I got to at least take the phone call. You understand, right? Of course. And now LeBron is in a unique situation here because now he can say, hey, I didn't break up the big three. Chris Bosh left. I was still working on it because technically he is. I mean, he hasn't said publicly I'm going back to Cleveland or I'm going to Miami or I'm going to Chicago or I'm doing anything. LeBron James has been very quiet about all of this, which is funny because ESPN has been anything but quiet about it. They're posting pictures of his son catching fishes, talking about how that's like headline news. Well, his son caught a fish yesterday. It was LeBron James. And the da-da-da-da-da. It's like, please, just stop. If there's not a story, then don't report one, okay? You don't have to make up a story about LeBron James and his son and the fishing trip that they went on because no one gives a crap about that, okay? The words LeBron James are only important when something happens. It's the Tim Tebow effect, okay? Just chill, all right? If there's nothing, there's going to be plenty of news about LeBron James. You don't have to fill all the time talking about his fishing trips with his children. He's going to make a big decision, and when he does, you can take all of that stories and go from there. No need to make it all up. Chris Bosh offered a max deal of 4 years, $96 million total, to go to the Houston Rockets and play with Dwight Howard and James Harden. I felt like that's like a fake headline, like from The Onion or something. I can't believe they would offer Bosh that much money. That totally blows my mind. If Bosh is getting a max contract in Houston, then you can forget about the Miami Heat ever being good again for a very long time. Very long time. 603-883-9900, your phone number. Let's go to the phones. Al is in Goffstown. Hello, Al.
Hey, Preston, how you doing?
What's up, Al?
I'm just thinking, with all this talk about LeBron James possibly going back to Cleveland, has there ever been an athlete of his stature that started in a certain town, left, and then came back?
In his prime like this? Not that I can imagine. I mean, maybe in football that happened before. I'm trying to think of another basketball player who did that, and I can't think of one. I honestly can't. I can't think of a guy.
Of any major sport that would have ever done something like that. I think for him to go back to Cleveland now, if he can pull off and mend all those fences that he broke when he left there, besides the money and that area where he wants to be with the young talent he's got, that's a pretty good situation for him.
It's a very good situation. It's a lot better than the situation in Miami, Al, that's for sure. I mean, listen, the Cleveland Cavaliers are not a good team right now on their own. As the roster sits right now, they have a lot of potential and they have a lot of good young players. You bring LeBron James and put him in the mix there, all of a sudden that's one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, which you have to remember is not very good. But even with that in mind, you put him with Kyrie Irving and Andrew Wiggins and Anderson Varejao, who was his best friend when he was there before. I mean, you're talking about a force over there in Cleveland. And yes, I mean, I can't think of another time when a guy got drafted by a team, played 6-7 seasons there, left for 4 years, and then came back to finish his career. No, I cannot think of another guy who did that. And it's just off the top of my head. That's what I'll try and think of some, but right now I can't think of any.
Right, I couldn't either. And I just happened to turn it on when you mentioned the deal about Chris Bosh.
Yeah.
I love to be his agent right now. With getting 10 or 15% of $96 million. I can't believe. I agree with you. He's a good player. He's not worth more than $15 to $16 million a year.
No, not even close. And I think the fact that Houston is offering him that really tells you that they're going all in for it right now. But they didn't need to offer him a max contract. No one else is going to offer Chris Bosh a max contract. They weren't going to do it in Miami, and they weren't going to do it probably anywhere else in Chicago and Golden State. Any of the teams that he was rumored to be going to, they weren't talking $24 million for 4 years per year. I don't even think that was the ballpark. I think you're probably talking about topping out around like 16, 17 million, if that. And you're talking $24 million. There's no way he's coming back there. And if he's out, LeBron's out.
That's correct. One other thing too, Christian, I want to get your opinion on this.
Sure.
I know you were talking about the Red Sox earlier, about what they will do in the future and so on. It almost seems to me nowadays, and it used to be back when I was a kid growing up, even in high school, teams used to build for the future. Now it's, what can you do for me now? It's almost like, if we can win it this year, let's try to win it this year and not worry about anything else after that. We want to go for it now. And it's like every one of these 30 teams in the NBA will try the same thing.
Yeah, in the NBA, that's certainly the question. And thanks for the call, Al. Great call. Call back more often, please. But yeah, you're absolutely right there. I think the main answer to your question, especially when it comes to the NBA, is when a free agent period comes up like this, or a big draft comes up, like a big draft that's stacked and loaded with, can't miss players, quote unquote. Teams all just go crazy. There's just a feeding frenzy because that's what it takes to win in the NBA right now. In the NBA these days, you need one superstar at least, and then you got to build around him. And by build around him, I generally mean you have to add another superstar of some kind and then have a competent bench. It's very difficult to do this, by the way. NBA, I would not want to be an NBA executive right now, a general manager. No way. That sounds just like a thankless job. Even when you do your job right, and you get the players together that you want. Look at Houston, for example. Houston now scrambling. They're offering Chris Bosh 4 years, 24 a year, and this is a team that thought they were going to be cruising to the Western Conference Finals with Dwight Howard, Jeremy Lin, and James Harden last year. Okay, how'd that work out? I'll tell you how that worked out. Well, I won't tell you how that worked out. Pete will.
Not great, Bob.
Exactly. Didn't work out too well. And that is why the Houston Rockets are now, and it's weird to consider them a desperate team when they have a top 5 scorer in Harden and the best big man in the entire league in Dwight Howard. Well, what the hell else do you need? Oh, how about a power forward who can take the ball outside and shoot from the outside as well and defend 3s and 4s? Well, yeah, that would help too. I mean, like, wow. Chris Bosh will be the third option on that team. You know, it's not going to be Chris Bosh's team. They're not going to defer to Chris Bosh. Dwight Howard certainly is not going to defer to Chris Bosh, and James Harden's not going to defer to Chris Bosh. He's going to be the third guy again, except this time he's going to be making $96 million in 4 years, which just, I mean, the more times I say it, the more insane it sounds. I can't believe he hasn't accepted the deal yet, by the way. The second that someone called him up and said 4 years, $96 million, and before he even finished saying $96 million, if I'm Chris Bosh, I say, yes, absolutely. I'll fax me the paper. I'll sign it right now. And just hope that they weren't going to say 96 million rupees from India or something, or Turkish lira or whatever it is. You know, stay on the phone until they say $1 million, and then you will tell them to fax over the contract, and you'll sign it pretty much right then and fax it back. Don't hesitate, Chris. Just do it. Get to Houston, get your money, and a season in Houston with Harden and Howard. Ooh, Howard and Bosh together in a front court. My God, that's got to make Houston fans pretty excited. I got to be honest with you. I don't think Chris Bosh is a guy who can do these things on his own, and it's sort of strange to pay a guy max money to be the third option, but that's what happened here. And I think Houston is in a pretty good position right now. We'll see what they do with the rest of their money, if they even have any left. If they have enough money to go out and shore up the bench a little bit, probably going to be the opposite. They're going to have to lose Jeremy Lin now. Chandler Parsons, who's a good young player, is probably out the door too. But you know what? Harden, Bosh, and Howard is a pretty nice trio to start building around. You know, I mean, that's the type of trio that is going to be a matchup nightmare for other teams, not just in the West, in the whole league. And the other thing is, now that Bosh is breaking up the big three, LeBron doesn't look like the bad guy leaving and going to Cleveland, which is probably what he wanted to do all along, if you think about it. He won his 2 rings in Miami. He saw the writing on the wall. He saw that Dwayne Wade is a shell of himself. He saw that this team can't seem to bring in competent players around him, bench players around him, as heroic and, you know, tough as Ray Allen was these last 2 seasons, going out there and playing on those old ankles of his. And I'm being sarcastic when I say heroic, but, you know, you talk about the Mike Millers and the James Joneses and the Udonis Haslams of the world over there, Norris Cole and Mario Chalmers and all these other stiffs that they brought in and out. LeBron knows that. He knows what they have there. Shabazz Napier wasn't going to be enough to make him come back and re-sign. So now he can go back to Cleveland, from whence it all started. He can go full circle in his career. He can be loved by his hometown fans again, which he will be, believe me. All those Cleveland fans talking all tough, burning the jerseys or whatever, they are going to be falling all over themselves to welcome LeBron James back to Cleveland. No matter what. Especially if Johnny Football gets busted doing any more coke in a Las Vegas bathroom, then they're really going to be putting it all on the Cavaliers, no question about it. What a strange day. Chris Bosh, 4 years, $96 million to be the third guy in Houston. Tough life. 603-883-9900, your phone number, 883-9900. Text in 50352. Can I finish when we come back?
CSA Graphics offers the best screen printing, embroidery, and promotional items in the area. Everything is done in-house, which allows CSA to make just one or thousands of items. Whether it's t-shirts, sweatshirts, hats, or uniforms, CSA will increase your brand awareness and get the word out about your company. CSA Graphics considers customer service their top priority. Gary and his staff work directly with you to create your printed version in the most efficient and affordable manner possible.
Call CSA Graphics at 978-577-6427 or visit CSAGFX.com.
Masa Hibachi, located at 1707 South Willow Street in Manchester, New Hampshire, directly across from the Mall in New Hampshire, is a new modern Asian restaurant with a diverse menu. Masa is a great place to enjoy one of their famous specialty martinis with a friend in their large, spacious lounge area. Dine with a small party or a large party in their state-of-the-art hibachi grill. Their sushi menu is incredible with so much to choose from. Take it from me, Jim Sensabella, my kids and I love it. And you and your family will love it too at the Masa Japanese Hibachi Grill. For reservations of parties of 5 or more, call 603-626-9888. Masa Japanese Hibachi Grill in Manchester, New Hampshire, directly across from the Mall, New Hampshire. The #1 Japanese hibachi grill in the Manchester area.
Is a sports injury keeping you out of your favorite class or your student athlete on the sideline? If so, come to New Hampshire Orthopedic Center, where we keep bodies in motion. Our sports medicine team's board-certified fellowship-trained physicians can tackle any injury keeping you away from the activities you love. Trust the team the Manchester Monarchs trust. Doctors Bouvier, Gumas, Killy, Marino, Sohikian, and Velas have the expertise and experience you can depend on. Our physicians know how motivated you are to get back in action. They chose sports medicine because they love getting athletes back into their favorite activities. With 6 area locations, you don't have to leave your community to get the best care. NHOC is conveniently located throughout southern New Hampshire, with offices in Nashua, Manchester, Londonderry, Amherst, and Salem. New Hampshire Orthopedic Center. We keep bodies in motion. To learn more, visit NHOC.com. Again, that's NHOC.com.
Steak and cheese fans, listen up. Quiznos Subs on Main Street in Nashua just came out with the Vince Special, which is a large spicy steak bomb for only $8.49. You get actual black Angus steak with Genoa salami, mozzarella, sauteed onions and peppers, and chipotle mayo. So grab the Vince Special, large spicy steak bomb today at Quiznos on Main Street in Nashua.
Quiznos Subs. Toasty.
So when you get to the corner of Smith and Orchard, you're going to want to take a
left.
You are
not going to
Then what you're going to
this.
do is turn
Marcy
onto Marcy
and Brad
Avenue.
just broke up,
and go past the first
apparently
3
she's
lights
happy
and then
about
take
it.
the next left.
I don't really
then drive
think
5
she's
more
happy,
blocks
but
and you should be
who
there.
am I to judge, right?
Park on the
Anyway,
right.
That's
I'll
what
see
I
you
heard
later
last
tonight.
night.
It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Text the word JOIN to 50352 and join the ESPN New Hampshire Text Club. Scores, standings, trades, and rumors. This is the ESPN New Hampshire Sports Center.
The Boston Red Sox welcome the Chicago White Sox in the Fenway tonight for a 4-game set. It'll wrap up a 10-game homestand, which the Sox are currently 1-5 on. The only bright spot has been the defensive play of Jackie Bradley Jr., which manager John Farrell tones to his newly found confidence.
A couple of really key defensive plays today with a catch up against the wall. Throws another guy out at home plate, but playing with much more confidence probably over the last 2 to 3 weeks.
First pitch is at 7:10 tonight, with pregame at 6:25 right here on ESPN New Hampshire. The New Hampshire Official Cats look to stay red hot. They are winners of 4 in a row in 10 of their last 11. They'll welcome New Britain in for a double dip tonight. First pitch at 6:05. And 3 Fisher Cats have been named to the Eastern League All-Star team. John Beardy, Dustin Antolin, and Randy Boone. For Portland Sea Dog recipients going to the All-Star game, it's Henry Owens, Blake Swihart, Sean Coyle, Derek Gibson, and Brian Johnson. Marcus Smart will look to improve upon his debut for the Boston Celtics in Summer League action. They'll take on the Indiana Pacers at 3 o'clock. I'm Rich Flair, and this Sports Center was brought to you by the Hanover Street Chop House, the official steakhouse of ESPN New Hampshire, located at 149 Hanover Street, Manchester, New Hampshire.
You're listening to Christian and King on ESPN New Hampshire.
All right, before we get out of here, I want to say a big thank you to David Lorla from Fangraphs joining me at 2:05, as well as Mr. Michael Loico joining me at 1:30 there talking Patriots. As we get closer and closer to minicamp, we will talk a lot more Patriots in the next couple of weeks, and not just because it's getting close to minicamp, but also because the Red Sox are just plain old depressing, and the summer's just getting going. And I'll be damned if I let these guys underachieve their way into ruining my summer. No way. No way. No way, no sir, no how. It's going to be the summer of George. 603-883-9900. I can sneak you in real quick before I I get to Can I Finish, and then after that, and when I normally would pass things off to Jim Sensabella, today, instead, we're going to give you, I believe, the last hour of SVP and Rosillo, followed by Dan Lebitard, followed by High School Insiders, followed by Red Sox Baseball, which will come to you tonight, 7 o'clock start, or 7:10 start, as a matter of fact. That is your first pitch time. As Clay Buchholz gets the start, he will be going up against someone named Scott Carroll, who pitches for the White Sox. He's 2-5 with a 5.05 ERA. And Clay Buchholz getting the start, looking for his third straight good outing. It's the opening of a 4-game series with the White Sox. The Red Sox are now 10 games under 500. Came back to tie it in the 7th yesterday before blowing it in the 12th. Everybody's down. Everybody's sad. And also, the Red Sox have one All-Star. That's John Lester. Koji's going to be a reserve, I believe, or he's going to, if a pitcher drops out, which always happens, if when one of the pitchers in the American League drops out, Koji's going to be the first guy in. The White Sox have two All-Star reserves in the American League. Rookie Jose Abreu, who is just a beast, and I can't wait to see him. I actually might go down to Fenway sometime this week just to check out Abreu. He has been awesome so far this year. And really a guy that's been exciting for White Sox fans. Alexi Ramirez has also been named an All-Star reserve. This guy Carroll, Scott Carroll, who's pitching, lost both starts since re-entering the rotation a couple of weeks ago. And he is 1-5 with a 6.75 ERA in 7 starts, walking 14 and striking out 15 in 37 in the third innings. This is his first time pitching against the Red Sox, and the Red Sox have won their last 5 meetings against the White Sox at Fenway. Obviously, there's still time and possibilities for this team to make at least, I'm not saying a comeback, like come back and be in the playoffs, but at least not be so freaking embarrassing, which is what they've been so far, because this has been, at best, a humiliation of a season up until this point. And I don't think anyone even on the team would disagree with me. All right, here we go. Let's get to Can I Finish?
Can I finish? Can I finish? Can I finish? Can I finish? Can I finish? Please, can I finish?
I can't answer your question unless you let me finish.
Hold it there, cracker boy. I'm not finished.
Well, I haven't talked a whole lot about this guy, Oscar Pistorius. We've mentioned when his trial was going on and certain things have happened and testimony and crying on the stand and all the rest of that. But now coming from Johannesburg, newly released video footage shows Oscar Pistorius participating in a reenactment of how he says he fatally shot his girlfriend Reva Steenkamp and then carried her out of a bathroom in his home. Australian broadcast Channel 7 showed the footage yesterday, a day before the trial resumes, which is today, which prompted criticism from a lawyer for Pistorius, who said the reenactment was made with the help of a U.S.-based company last year as part of the defense team's trial preparations. In the video, which I just watched during the commercial break, and it's definitely creepy, Pistorius is seen walking on his stumps. He can actually walk on them. He can plant and step and without falling over, without having his little Springer things there. He can actually, carry weight and transfer weight onto them, which I didn't realize. I didn't know Pistorius could walk on those things. I figured he had, fake feet or something like that he would attach on and use to walk around with. But no, he can actually stand on them, and he was showing the way he walked over to the bathroom that night. His arms are outstretched in a fist as though he's holding a gun. It also shows him carrying a woman, but it doesn't know where the reenactment was filmed. He said he carried Steenkamp after mistakenly shooting her through the closed bathroom door because he thought there was an intruder. Prosecution says he intentionally killed the model after they argued in the early hours of the night. In a statement, lawyer Brian Weber said the defense team hired the Evidence Room, a U.S.-based company called the Evidence Room, to visually map the events on the night of the accident, and that video footage was filmed as part of the process. The video has not yet been shown in the trial. The footage shown by the Australian broadcaster was obtained illegally. Quote, for the family, the airing of this footage constitute a staggering breach of trust and an invasion of the family's privacy, he said, adding that we cannot imagine how any of this footage would not support Oscar's version. A switchboard operator at Channel 7 said the office was closed and no one was available to comment. They must have been partying really hard for the 4th of July over in Australia, celebrating America's independence. That's what they do in Australia. The Evidence Room did not immediately return a request for comment either. Pistorius is free out on bail, faces 25 to life if found guilty of premeditated murder. He also faces separate gun-related charges. I think the biggest shocker of all of this is that Pistorius can walk around on his stumps. It's really creepy, but the video's up there. You can watch it. I just thought that this quote was interesting. For the family, the airing of this footage constitute a staggering breach of trust and an invasion of the family's privacy. Well, who do you think leaked it, numbnuts? It's probably some cousin or something. You know, I mean, who else would stand to get, like, first of all, the thing's only 40 seconds. It's only like a 40-second long little video. Someone must have got it from somewhere. And I'm assuming it was probably someone in Pistorius' camp who's probably thinking, yeah, this guy's getting put away. I'm going to cash out now because the Oscar Pistorius Olympic money train is probably derailed for the time being. Just thinking, you know, just floating it out there. I have no idea how this video got there. But watch it. It's creepy. It's weird. And that's our show. Want to say thanks once again to Mike Loico and to David Lorela for joining me today. Tomorrow, we'll have another great show, slam-packed with guests. I have so many guests coming in this week, it's going to be great. So don't forget to tune in. We'll be back tomorrow at noon. I'll be back anyway, and I'll talk to you then. Later.
I'm Rich Flair, and here's your Infinity of Nashua keys to the game. After taking 2 out of 3 in the Bronx, the Red Sox return home tonight to take on the Chicago Cubs.